this a little closer. What's good? What's good, man? Tuesday reaction live. Yo, it's. Do I have a reaction? Nah, we have a reaction. Sorry I didn't get to the reaction yesterday. Shout out to everybody in the building. Man, there's all kinds of stuff going on. People talking like somebody don't want to be quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders anymore. Other people talking about we're going to get a new quarterback in the draft. The nation is hyped up. People are hyped up. Some people are one way, some people are the other way. We're going to try to break it all down, put it all together, and talk about it. Get your opinion, my opinion. What's good? Appreciate you popping up. Because, man, it is wild, bro. It is wild, right? We are second, number two. And some say we have the best, highest scenario percentage to be number one in the draft. The last time we were number one in the draft was what, 2008 with Jamarcus Russell. We all know how that ended up. The past is the past. I'm not going to dwell on that. Navy vet, what's good? Appreciate you. But man, there's all kinds of crazy talk, right? Do we get a quarterback if we're number one? Do we use that capital to move back? We'll talk about it. We'll break it all down. Also, there is some Deion Sanders sightings. Talking to the Cleveland Browns owner. We won't talk about that much. I just wanted to mention it. Shador was trying to get, or Cam Ward was trying to get a jersey swap with Shador, and he wasn't having it. Craziness. So, shout out to Shador Sanders for having a hell of a game. Did the Raiders make a huge mistake by not going after this young man at quarterback? We'll break that down too. We'll get into those thoughts. But first off, we got to talk about this draft, right? Is Geno going to play? Is Geno hurt? There's been a report out by, another content creator that says Geno Smith, his family has informed him that Geno doesn't want to play for the Raiders. Geno doesn't want to be in Las Vegas anymore. And if that's the case, does he play? What's good? Appreciate you. If that's the case, does Geno play in Philadelphia, which may be snowing? That's a Kenny Pickett style game, right? He's used to that. Pete Carroll, in his press conference, when asked about Geno Smith and if Geno Smith was going to play, he said it was a shoulder injury. The report was it was a finger injury. Nobody knows what's going on with Geno. There's still not a report. Pete Carroll has done 2 interviews, has no idea what is going on with his G, that we all know the favoritism and the love for Geno Smith. But he has no idea what is going on with Geno. After 2 games, he still don't know what the injury is. So some people are speculating, maybe there is no injury. Maybe he's just done with the Las Vegas Raiders and this fan base, and he doesn't want to play for the Las Vegas Raiders anymore. Which is, it's crazy, it's funny, it's hilarious. Man, he talks about, how he stays true, how he's this, how he's that. And you're really quitting on the team. It's crazy to us. But that's a problem. That's a huge problem for us, right? Because on the other hand, if Geno does not play in Philadelphia, it's Kenny Pickett, Aiden O'Connell, or maybe Cam Miller. Cam Miller, which I could see Cam Miller if we're trying to lose. Somebody saying, hey, we want to see this kid the rest of the year. That could very well be a case. But if it's Kenny Pickett, and if he comes out against Philadelphia, against the team that he was a backup for, that released him, that are having struggles right now, right? Their quarterback, 5 interceptions in one game, I believe 4 in the other game. Jalen Hurts not looking good right now. Our defense not looking good right now. It's a battle of 2 teams that are struggling. One is a lot better. They have Saquon Barkley, a huge difference. We have Ashton Genty. The offensive line held up very well last week. Our rookie, Caleb Rogers, who everybody said needed practice, right? Practice. Caleb was not ready. Caleb Rogers needs more practice. Boom, overnight. He's the best offensive lineman we've had, and I don't know how long. 0 sacks, 0 pressures, zero quarterback hits, zero penalties in his second game, but the first game that he's played all game long. And he just overnight became this great offensive lineman. That's what they want us to believe. So the point is, this offensive line steps it up, and we have to play a struggling Eagles team in Philadelphia. If it's snowing, you never know what could happen in those games, right? The Raiders are sitting at number 2. What are the possibility and the chances? Let me know in the chat. I'll read it in a second. I'm going to ramble on for a minute. What are the possibilities that the Raiders go into Philadelphia and walk out of there with a win and Raider like they always do and put us back? I believe if we win, we're sitting at 7 or 8, right? 7 or 8. That's a very, very big possibility from this franchise. And let me tell you why, right? This is my opinion. This is nobody else's opinion. This is what I believe. Kenny Pickett has more reason to play than anybody on this team. Aiden O'Connell has another year under contract. Shout out to everybody in the building. Kenny Pickett was traded for a 5th-round pick. He hasn't had an opportunity all season. You think this man is literally going to go out there to Philly against a former team and not give it absolutely everything he has to show not only the Raiders, but the other 30 teams in the NFL that, bro, I could still play football. I could still run a team. I could run a team that a dude that's, was supposed to be a top 10, 5 elite quarterback in the NFL couldn't run, but I can come in here and run it. This is big for Kenny Pickett, and this is bad for Raider Nation. This is horrible for us. If you want us to have a top 1 or 2 pick, it's not good. You still have a head coach in Pete Carroll that believes they're a win-now team, that they can win right now. He's not giving up on trying to win. If it all comes together, Greg Olsen has this offense looking good. Jack Besh had his best game of his career. Every single one of those passes were from Kenny Pickett. Yes, Kenny the Snake Pickett. So, before we get all hyped up saying, we're going to have the first overall pick, let's think about this. I don't want the nation being gassed up and then being, oh, screw Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's garbage. Like, because he comes in and wins games, because he's fighting for his life and his career out there, right? This is, we're in a horrible spot, man. Everybody's hyped up and thinking this is great. I'm like, I don't know which way to go. You have a head coach that's not giving up on winning. He's going to do everything he can. You have Greg Olsen that's in the same spot, right? He's an interim OC. He's going to do absolutely everything in his power to show that, shit, he could be an OC somewhere, whether it's here or whether it's somewhere else. Everybody on this staff right now is fighting to prove they can still coach their position, probably somewhere else next year, right? There's a lot of news that Pete Carroll is not only on the hot seat, but that seat is burnt, and he's pretty much on the way out. Now, it's just speculation. I believe he should have been on the way out, and the dignity-wise, they're going to let him coach out the season. But other than that, man, I'm going to keep rambling. Who's in the building? Who's not in the building? Holy crap, there's a lot of people in the building. I'm not going through everybody. Jeez Louise, Candy Raiders Unleashed. Shout out to everybody in the building. Leaky, I'm not bueno. What's good? Jack Kenna, Navy Vet, Robert Penna. Appreciate y'all. I'm going to skip over everyone because I will never catch up to this. Hope Max Crosby leaves. That's not nice, bro. We need an O-line. That's it. Maybe a backup quarterback. But do we really need an O-line? I'm going to stop right there. Like, just think about this. Think about it. If you have Caleb Rogers that continues to play like he's playing as a rookie under a rookie contract for another 4 years or 3 years, right? This is his first year. So for another 3 years, if Caleb Rogers continues to play like that, you have your guard. If JPJ comes back and plays center, you have your center. If Colton Miller, who's signed for 2 more years, right? 3-year contract, you have your left tackle. All you got to figure out is DJ Glaze your guy for the future? Or do you want to draft a right tackle? Or do you want to go get one in free agency? Or do you want to give Charles Grant that spot, right? Maybe we see Charles Grant by the end of the season. Maybe somebody from above comes up and says, "I want to see what we have in Charles Grant." And if you have a Charles Grant and a Caleb Rogers and a JPJ, probably not Dylan Parham, but maybe a Meredith. Um, are you draft another guard? Are you going to get one in the draft, a veteran? This offensive line isn't as bad as we think, right? If Kenny Pickett can be a bridge, there's a lot more quarterbacks coming out next year that look like a higher percentage of a can't miss, and there's never a can't miss in the NFL. Is Mendoza going to be that guy? Right? Is he going to be that guy? Is a Ty Simpson who struggled through the last part of the college season? Is he going to be that guy? Is he even going to come out? Right? There's a lot of questions. Maybe none of these quarterbacks come out. Maybe they all like, nah, bro, I'm gonna stay in. Um, the Raiders, the Jets. You're looking at these teams that have top 5 picks. Why would you want to come out to any one of these teams if you can make the same money in college? It makes no sense. So, do we really need an O line? I don't know. Um, Eagles aren't shit franchise like us. They have no answer for Pickett. They learned first having from the roster last year what his weaknesses are. I mean, yeah, he was on the practice squad, right? He knows how to pick them apart. He knows what defenses they're going to run. I'm sure he knows the corners very well. Probably more of the backups, right? Because if he's on the first team, he was on the second team, so he's playing against the starters. So yeah, he gives us the best chance to win, and that's horrible for us as fans to have Kenny Pickett finally get in the game and not be able to try to root for the man because he's gonna screw up something we haven't had in I can't even do math, but what 27 years, some shit, a long 28 years, a long time, long time, a number one pick, and we'll get to what we could do with the number one pick here in a minute. But let me go through this. Lawrence in the building, what's good? Joanna in the building. It's a Dusty Oreo. Defense is first, then work on the O line and get a franchise quarterback. So let me ask you this. And okay, I can't ask that because I'm gonna have to go through all these. This ain't never gonna work. Because by the time y'all answer, it's so far down. Okay, don't answer. Answer if you want to. I'll get to it eventually. If the Raiders have the number one pick somehow, if we lose out, right, and they end up with first overall, you have teams. Now, Cleveland, they can go get a quarterback. They can stick with Shador. Doesn't look like that's you know, coaching and a quarterback fit there, but it could work, right? It could work for Cleveland. They might need a quarterback. They might not. They have 2 first-round picks. The Rams, who got a pick from the Falcons last year, who a lot of people believed was going to be, 15, 16, 17, 18. That pick is now a top 10 pick. The Rams have 2 picks. The Rams are the best in their division. They're about to make the playoffs more than likely, and have a nice run in the playoffs. When you got a coach like McVay, you got Matthew Stafford, who's picked to be the MVP this year. They got a solid defense. They got a great defensive coach, and who a lot of people want, right? What the hell's his name? Chris Shula. So the Rams, what if they move up with those 2 first-round picks and say, I want Fernando Mendoza. I believe that's our guy for the future. Matthew Stafford's not going to be around forever, but however long he is going to be around, we have Mendoza sit behind him and learn from a quarterback whisperer and Sean McVay. What if the Rams jump up in front of us at number 2 and go get our quarterback, or y'all's quarterback, right? I'm not sold on this kid yet. I'm not sold on anybody. It's way too early. But there's a lot of scenarios, bro. There's a lot of scenarios right now that could screw the shit out of the Raiders. Excuse my language. The Raiders haven't been good since Al Davis was head coach. Since that long? I mean, come on. We won three playoff games since then. Come on, man. We won Super Bowl since then. We've been good since then, but I get what you're saying. Ranked 32nd, by the way. Yeah. Kappa is surprisingly decent center. He hasn't looked too bad. I will say that. I think he looks a lot better at that position, the position he's never played before. But he's still not it, right? Rose Tan in the building, appreciate you. What else we got? Rams got 2 first round picks. Hold on, see, I'm talking about shit y'all already talking about. Um, but not only the Rams, right? Not only the Rams, the Arizona Cardinals. You know, Arizona Cardinals could try to jump up there to the number two, number one spot. Um, if it's the Giants that have that spot, do they really need to pick there? They have their quarterback. They got defense in the first round. They really don't need to be there. And if they can get draft capital, I could see the Giants, um, trading back. Speaking of trading back, if you're the Raiders, if you're sitting there and the Rams want to offer you 2 first round picks to go up and get, their guy, if it's Mendoza, say, 2 first rounds, where are they sitting at 9? They might end up at 9 or 8. It'll probably be 2 first rounds and, a second or a third. If they're willing to give you that, how could you not? How could you not? One of those first round picks would be this year. That would give the Raiders 2 first round picks this year. If you go defense, I mean, you got a chance to get Arvell Reese. You got a chance to get was it C.J. Smith? What is the other linebacker? Um, the options are endless, right? The options are endless. So that pick is valuable as hell. But being the Raiders, man, are we gonna Raider it up? Are we gonna Raider and mess it up? If Geno's out, not out. I mean, if Geno's not out there, there's a huge chance we could. There's a huge chance we could. Um, I got a band. We beat the Eagles defense. Damn, bro, that's wild. You over here trying to be like that Dave dude on the internet betting $250,000 that the Raiders wouldn't cover the spread. Has he lost his mind? He must not watch this much. He must not watch it much. I would trade Cosby for a first and a second. A first and a second? That's wild. Greg Brewer in the building. What's good? Shador rather draft Mendoza. Man, right now, the way Shador's looking, I wouldn't mind trading for Shador. I mean, the kid looks pretty decent, right? He looks way better now than he ever did in college. He's not taking the stupid sacks. I think being four string, having to work his way up, really, really matured that kid, you know, young man in the last 10 months. I think it really, really has. And he's playing lights out. I know it was against Tennessee, but he played that way, against us. He's he's doing pretty good. Daniel Berry Sports, what's good, my guy? Appreciate you. Barkley gonna have a track day with the backfield, do a backflip, um, backflip hurdles on the whole defense. Let's hope not, man. Let's hope not, right? Let's hope not. I don't know. I don't know. Speaking of defense, man, where's Decamarion Richardson at? Where is our third overall pick last year in the draft? Why is this young man not playing? A lot of people had him pegged as the starter before the season, in camp. They were like, oh, this is his job, right? This is his job. He's not even out there, bro. He's not even out there. Once in a while, you see him out there. Raiders are at 2, hopefully number 1 by the end of the season. But that's what I'm saying. It's going to be hard to stay at number 1 or number 2 if Kenny Pickett's out there. And I'm not saying Kenny Pickett's a hero or Kenny Pickett's Superman, but I know Kenny Pickett has taken his team to playoffs. I know Kenny Pickett could throw the ball. I seen Kenny Pickett throw a touchdown to Cedric Jackson, the great nephew of Bo Jackson. Was one of the best passes I've seen from any Raider quarterback probably in the last 2 years. With anticipation, he knew it was cover 3. He said, "Blue 52." Ball was out. Ball was out. The kid chased it down. That was a great throw. That's throwing with anticipation. That's something the Raiders haven't had all year long. He's not scared in the pocket. He rolled out of the pocket a couple times, threw on the run. That kid was ball. I mean, not kid, but Kenny Pickett was out there balling, bro. He's got something to play for. It's a former first round pick. Now, whether he was worthy of that first round pick or not, you know, he's got something to play for. And somebody with a chip on their shoulder, that was traded for a fifth round pick, that's a former first round pick, has something to play for. Why can't he be the next Baker Mayfield? Why can't he be the next Sam Darnold, right? We don't know. We don't know. In the right system and the right fit, maybe this is the right system and the right fit for Kenny Pickett. Has he ever had a Brock Bowers? It looked like he had a damn good, six passes, all six passes to Jack Best were Kenny Pickett. That means Geno Smith was in there 3 quarters of the game, didn't throw the ball one time. Jack Best was out there 85% of the time. Geno didn't throw it to him once. But Kenny Pickett comes in and hits him 3 times, throws to him 6 times or whatever for 60 yards. Like, bro, Kenny Pickett could come out and shock some people. But then again, there's always coaches that could call stupid ass plays. But even that, he's shown he can be mobile, right? And he can just play street ball out there. If Kenny Pickett just goes out there and plays street ball the rest of the year with shit, nothing on the line, but showing people that you could still play football, it could be dangerous. It could be dangerous all the way around. Which I'm a Raider fan, man. I'll never hate on a win, but damn, it's been so long since we've had a number one pick with the option of choosing whoever we want, you know, gaining capital for the next couple years. I mean, looking at the quarterbacks that are possibly coming out next year, it just looks way better to me than the quarterbacks coming out this year. And if it's not a guaranteed pick, right, which nothing is in the NFL, but if it's not one of those, can't miss, right? Everybody thought Jaden Daniels was a can't miss. Everybody thought Caleb Rogers was a can't miss. What did I say? Caleb Williams. I say Caleb Rogers. Caleb Williams was a can't miss, right? A lot of people thought, Joe Burrow was one of those can't miss. Um, if it's not one of those guys like that, do you really pick at number one when you have a lot of holes? A lot of holes. You know what it would be like to have a linebacker like Arvell Reese on this team that could cover, that could rush the quarterback, that could, play from the line, that can play from the outside. Shit, he could probably even play from the middle if you wanted to. I mean, it would change this defense, right? If you went and got um, the hell's the corner from Ohio State, right? Or if you went and got the safety from Ohio State, Caleb Downs. I mean, damn, if you could get a Caleb Downs and an Arvell Reese somehow in the top 10 because you traded back and then traded again, this team would be flipped around overnight. But you got to have a new coach. What up with Raiders, man? I don't know. What's good? I don't know what's going on with them. Bad coaching? Shout out to the 48 people in the building, man. I appreciate you. The Bear appreciates you. He says, what's up? Shout out, shout out. I'm going to never get through all these. Jesus. Shout out to all the comments. Doesn't matter what quarterback they pick, they will automatically be a bust. Now, see, that's not wishful thinking, bro. That's negative thinking. We're trying to be positive. The Raiders are 2-11. This fan base is hurting. We just want positivity. Double tap the screen if you like what I'm talking about. If you've never been here before, think about subscribing. But help me out. 42 people. All you gotta do is go boop boop, and you liked it. If you don't like it, don't like it. But appreciate everybody in here. But that's negativity, man. It does matter who we pick, and there's no guarantee they're going to be a bust, right? What if we get in, a quarterback whisperer out of the Sean McVay tree, like a Mike LaFleur that I've been trying to get to be the coach for the Raiders for the last 2 years, right? What if you get a guy like that that's been in a Rams system that, knows how to run a system? Everybody says he doesn't call plays. Well, he called plays when he was the OC with the Jets, when Robert Saleh was the coach there. So he has play calling experience. He's also, the game coordinator. You could go get one of these guys that know how to get the best out of quarterbacks, how to develop quarterbacks, and, run with that. So there's no guarantee that they're going to be a bust, bro. If the Raiders fail on this number one pick, this fan base is going to be, I mean, they might not even have a fan base. A lot of people are like, oh, just draft your quarterback. If it doesn't, if it's not him, draft him next year in the first round and draft another. Come on, man. What about the one we drafted last year? What about Cam Miller? What about Cam Miller that's played the role of every single quarterback in the NFL for every team we've faced, right? He's played Bo Nix. He's played Justin Herbert. He's had to play, now he's going to have to play, Jalen Hurts this week, right? Cam Miller has played 15, how many games we played? Whatever, 13 different quarterbacks this year in practice. He's had to beat all those guys. You don't think Cam Miller is developing? You don't think Cam Miller would be worth, giving a shot in training camp to say, damn, what did you learn last year? I believe he's going to be way farther ahead than any of these quarterbacks coming out of college. Just my opinion. Geno is trash. No, come on. Geno is not trash. The Raiders are on par with the Browns, Jets, poverty franchise, unfortunately. I know, but that's why we're here, man. We're trying to change this around. We need your opinions as Raider fans. If you're not Raider fans, shit, give us your opinion too, as long as it's not negative. Nah, bro, you're a diehard. I mean, yeah, some of us are, some of us aren't. Some of us bleed this shit. Some of us been doing it their whole life. Some of us been doing it since they moved to Cali. Some of us been doing it like L.A., Cali, Vegas. It is what it is. A fan is a fan, right? Bowers at running back. He's the only good one on the team, bro. You crazy now. He's getting crazy. Raiders. Furpo in the building, man. I appreciate you. I think for the Rams, it would be smart to sit behind Matthew Stafford for a while if the Rams win a Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, if you win a Super Bowl, then it's a no-brainer to if you have 2 first-round picks. But do the Rams really want to waste 2 first-round picks on a quarterback when, they have a coach that's developed, everybody that's been a backup over there has been pretty good, right? When they leave and go somewhere else, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, I don't really know if they really feel like they have to draft a first-round quarterback. But if they do, they got the capital to do it. But like I said, Cleveland has the capital. Somebody else. I think there's 4 teams in the first round. The Dallas Cowboys have the capital. Maybe they're like, man, Dak Prescott ain't it. Or maybe they're like, shit, we want the best defensive, we need Arvell Reese. Maybe the Cowboys think they need to jump up. There's a lot of teams. There's teams that even in the back that might be willing to throw 3 first rounds for that first or second pick, right? If you got first pick or if you got second pick and somebody wants that, there's still a lot of draft capital. Shador is a mess. He's below average. I'm not saying he's great. He's a kid that's developing, right? He's a young man that when he was in college took 50 sacks, and it was okay because his father allowed him to do that, right? The OC, probably couldn't reprimand him for what he was doing because his father's the head coach. So in the NFL, you're not going to get that. You're going to learn, you're going to grow, or you're not going to be out there. And he's going to get every, opportunity. They said he's the man for the rest of the season. So I'm not hating on Shador. A lot of people hate on him. I hated on his character. But lately, I think he's been kind of funny. So, I don't know. Bro, I'm going to need your Raiders to smack the Eagles this weekend. Don't put $250,000 on them. Just don't do that. Don't do that, bro. And I'm not going to need that. So, I hope they don't smack anybody the rest of the season, really. How they should do against the 49ers? It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible, right? It wasn't terrible. The more time he's had with the team, the more time he's had with the starters. And, do we really think Stefanski is setting them up to actually succeed? I don't feel like that. Even not a big Shador fan. Alfredo was good. I just don't feel like they're setting that kid up for success. Like, they're pretty much doing what the Raiders did with Aiden O'Connell. You go out there and try to save our season. Let's see what you got, and we're gonna call a bunch of stupid ass plays and hope you can make plays. And he has, and he hasn't. Trade the first round pick for 2 first round. Choose the O line. The following year, you'll have two again and choose quarterback. But all right, so who you taking in the top 5 or 10 in the offensive line? Raider Menace. Who you taking? Name me one. Name me one. I don't see any offensive lineman that I would take top 10. I mean, the kid from Utah, Fuag, what the hell is his name? Um, I can't remember his name. But the tackle from Utah, just because he's a road grader in the run game and he would have help Ashton Genty. But at 10, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even see a quarterback right now, as of right now, that I would take in the top 10. We still got the playoffs. Yes, Mendoza looked great against Ohio, um, but they kicked a lot of field goals, right? His stats were great, but they passed a lot too. So we'll see, man. We'll see. There's still a lot of combine, but I don't see any offensive lineman that I'm saying, damn, I need that dude to come be my left tackle or my right tackle. Like, and I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to make sure that dude is a Raider. I don't see that. I see that at safety, with Caleb Downs. I see that at linebacker or whatever you want to call him in Arbel Reese, right? I see that in what's the other cat from Miami, right? Ruben Baines. I mean, God, could you imagine him next to Max Crosby? Could you imagine on the same team with Max Crosby, Ruben Bain? Like, we could go a lot of ways. And right now, the Raiders cannot tackle. Like, whether people want to say our offensive line is trash, I mean, last week, everybody graded well, except Pete Carroll's guy, Stone Forsythe. Stone Forsythe was the only one that didn't have good grades. The rest, you could deal with. They were okay. But that was the best game they played was last week. So maybe they have something with Kappa at guard and the young man over there. I think DJ Glaze looked better. Just the fact that Caleb Rogers was next to him. I think he played a lot better. Raiders. Raiders smashed Eagles this week. I mean, I'm kind of been getting that feeling, gut feeling too. And usually when I do, I'm like, man, I don't want to hear it. Okay, so what do you think about the Steelers coming back and beating Baltimore? I think Mike Tomlin is, you know, a damn good coach. I think he heard all the noise about the talk about him being fired, and he got his guys fired up. I think the people in the building, heard the noise. I'm sure there's none of those players, maybe a couple past players that, have been there for a while that might be fed up with Mike Tomlin, but come on, he's still Mike Tomlin, so he's going to rally that team um, no matter what. So, and Baltimore isn't playing well. Like, you have, you have a quarterback, Lamar Jackson, that's come back, and I don't know how many touchdowns he threw against the Steelers, but before that, he had 0 touchdowns in 3 games. No running, no passing. So you got a struggling quarterback that's coming back off injury. Maybe they rushed him back too fast. I don't know. But, the Steelers are just an up and down team. You don't know what they're going to get with Aaron Rodgers. You don't know what they got with the quarterbacks behind them because they got Aaron Rodgers. They got 2 solid running backs. Their defense is up and down. Um, it's hard to say, but great comeback for the Steelers. He would have curled up into a ball. I'm, I'm just pretty sure you're talking about Geno. I'm just pretty sure you're talking about Geno. Um, watch your day or Sunday. Who? What? Tyler in the building. What's good? Appreciate you, man. Shout out to the 46 people in the building. Keep it simple and don't overthink it. Wait for the most important position on football on the team. That okay, Jack Kenna. Let me ask you this. Go back. There's not a lot of them. It won't take you long, and maybe we'll do this tomorrow on the channel. Maybe this will be what we do. But damn, I got to do a lot of research. Maybe this is what we'll do tomorrow. Let me know. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you want to see it. We'll go back and we'll find every little tidbit of Spytech talking about how he thinks of quarterbacks in the draft. Because from what I get from Spytech when he's talking about quarterbacks in the draft, it it sounds like Cam Miller, right? You take a guy in the third and the fourth, you develop him over a 2, 3 year period. I don't see Tom Brady, a seventh round pick that won 7 rings, drafting a guy in the first round. I don't. Everything Tom Brady has ever said about a quarterback is you got to start from the bottom. You got to, win. You got to stay at the same school. You know, even when it's good, even when it's bad, right? Mendoza, was he at the same school? He was at Cal, 2 years, transferred. So I don't see any of these quarterbacks being what Tom Brady wants. I do see a guy like the Oklahoma quarterback John Merritt. I do see a guy like that being a guy like the Raiders would go after in the second, third round if he was there. Meter, what is his name? Lenora Sellers, guys like that. I don't see any of those guys being a Tom Brady or a Spytech type of guy. I see Spytech and Brady both talk about guys that are experienced. If anything, they'll probably go get, another free agent. Or maybe, just maybe, they're like, damn, we'll just stick with Kenny Pickett, have Aiden O'Connell as the backup, or, let those guys battle it out. You want my bear? Can't have my bear, yo. That's Raider Bear. Can't have him. You think the Raiders got a chance against the Eagles? Um, Bro, I bleed silver and black. I believe this team has a chance against anybody that we face anytime ever. so, uh, no matter who it is, I thought we could win games with Brian Hoyer and Jimmy G. I bleed silver and black. I'm the most biased content creator probably on the planet, and I try not to be, but I don't know. I don't know. Why you ask such tough questions? No. I think they got a chance, but it depends on who's the quarterback, right? If it's Geno Smith, they don't have a chance in hell. He's going to hold the ball way too long. This front line is going to eat him up, and there's nothing he can do. He's not mobile. He's not going to roll out of the pocket like Kenny Pickett. If it's Aiden O'Connell, he can get the ball out fast, but same thing. This defense is probably going to eat him up, and rolling out of the pocket, he's fragile. He might get hurt. Um, if it's Kenny Pickett and he plays like he did with the chip on his shoulder, like he has something to play for, I believe the Raiders have a shot. But they have to do two things: make Jalen Hurts, uncomfortable and throw turnovers or fumbles like he's done in the last 2 weeks, right? And stop Saquon Barkley. And if they can do that, I think they got a chance. I think they got a chance. I think with Greg Olsen calling the plays, Pete Carroll's fighting for his life. I think the players know that. And if there are players in the building that want Pete Carroll around, I think they'll fight for their life also. So, yes, I think the Raiders have a very, very, very small chance to hang in there, right? But if they get down by more than 10 points, more than likely the defense folds and everybody does like they do. Man, I'm eager to see what we do in the draft, free agency. Just hoping we get it right. That's all I hope for too. So y'all want two and lost? Yeah, we're 2-11. Yeah, and I'm still doing this, ready to? Yeah. I got you. We can get up on that. Shit, I'm always ready for that. But yeah, man. So just a rough season with a bunch of people in charge that some feel we can win right now, some feel we can't win ever, some feel it's gonna take 2 or 3 years. Um, Fire Pete and hire Kubiak. I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at that, right? He's, a coach's son, been in the NFL, got lots of experience, has Sam Darnold, you know, playing damn good over there in Seattle. Um, has Jackson Smith and Jigba, playing lights out, one of the best receivers in the NFL right now. How could you not go that way? I mean, if he's willing to do it. But the problem is, how do you entice any coach to come coach for the Raiders? And I know we might have the first or second pick, but is that enough? Is that enough? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Dolphins had a bad coach for the season upon seasons. I don't know. That they've been fighting towards the end, right? Aren't the Miami Dolphins, on a win streak still? Haven't they won 3 or 4 in a row? I do believe, or something like that. Feels like I've seen all this team except drafting a quarterback. Number one pick is not a guaranteed success. What is a guaranteed success, or at least the closest thing to it, is taking 2 first round picks and a second and a third, or whatever you can get, depending how far back those people are. Again, shout out to everybody in the building. Double tap the screen if you like this content. Um, Helps the channel, helps me know you like the content, so I can keep just rambling and rambling. But you know, it makes sense, bro. It makes sense to me to just to get what you can for it, unless there's your guy, right? If there's somebody at number one that the Raiders are like, we have to get this player because this guy's gonna help us in every way and everything we're trying to do. But the problem is, what are the Raiders trying to do? Does anybody know what they're trying to do? I don't. I don't know what the direction is. I don't know are they trying to win now like they said they were this year still? Are they going to try that next year and the year after? Are they finally going to come to common sense and be like, okay, maybe we should rebuild? Maybe we should really evaluate everybody in the building and see what we have and go from there? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't think anybody knows, right? Whether you have an inside scoop, whether you have somebody in the building saying, I heard this or I heard that, it doesn't matter what you hear because that could be somebody just, voicing his opinion like I'm doing right now, right? So I don't think anybody has a clear direction of what they're trying to do with this franchise, right? Who they want to run it. Do they want a soft, loving coach like Pete Carroll that cares about everybody, that's going to show favoritism to certain guys? Do they want a disciplinary coach that's going to come in and be a hard ass and yell and scream at everybody and, piss guys off that make way too much money? It's, do they want a young guy that Spytek and Tom Brady can influence and say, this is what I want you to do, and he's going to go do it? Do they want a yes man? I mean, to me, I feel like they want the yes man, right? I feel like there's a lot of people up above that want to have their hands in everything the Raiders are doing, whether it's on the field, whether it's drafting, whether it's practicing, right? That's just my feeling, but I don't know. Putting too much on number one pick. Just make good picks, period, man. How am I putting too much on it? That's because I mean, come on, that's the most pristine thing besides the Super Bowl is the number one pick, right? A lot of people, a lot of teams try to get that pick and still can't get it, right? A lot of teams need that pick and can't get it, right? It changes a lot of things. It can change your franchise on that night right there, right? You can move back, you can you can pick the guy for the future. I mean, it is a big thing. It is a big thing, and it's not always about staying and picking, right? You might get offers that you can't refuse. Can't refuse. Hell, I mean, how many times have we seen it in the draft where somebody had the number one pick and the number two pick was like, I really want that guy, and I know you're gonna pick him, so I'll give you the number two pick and a first round pick next year and a second and a third, and then they get that pick, and then somebody says, yo, I really want this dude, let me get that second pick. And now you're looking at shit, how many picks? Another first round, another 2 first rounds, and a second, a third, or a fourth. Like, being number one, you could walk out of there on draft day with another 3 or 4 first round picks for the future and a couple seconds. I mean, That's huge for a franchise. If you have the right people in the building, selecting the right people, that's the other huge part. I feel like Pete is just there for the money and um, needs a young and hungry coach. I mean, right now, for the last couple of years, I feel like everybody comes here for the money. I think they see Mark Davis, just signing checks, dishing out money. Like, man, if you want to retire, if you don't want to play no more, just come to the Las Vegas Raiders. You'll get a huge contract. You'll get the rest of your money, and you don't have to do shit. Like, I think that's the way the NFL looks at us. I think that's the way the last couple coaches have been here. Maybe not AP, but um, it just feels like that's the offensive coordinator, the highest paid offensive coordinator in all of the NFL, making $6 million a season, the highest paid offensive coordinator ever, and this team was 2-9, 2-8 when they fired him. I mean, everybody comes here for a bag. It seems like they just got a bit of consistency. The Steelers have to be consistent. They haven't been all year. I mean, it's hard to be consistent in the NFL. Peace, Furpo, probably already gone. It's hard, right? There's a lot of teams that defense are starting to change. They're starting to evolve. There's teams running cover four. There's teams running disguises of cover four mixed with cover three, mixed with man. It's wild out there. Like, you don't know what teams are doing. So, I mean, it's hard to be consistent. The NFL, no matter who you play, it's always been any given Sunday, right? You can catch a team on a good day. We know where your team's coming off of a bad week and a long flight and a quick turnaround. So consistency is hard in the NFL. And I hate saying this, but after watching the Kansas City Chiefs, get beat on Sunday, I just realized like how long they have been dominant and good, and just the consistency throughout that franchise. The last 9 years, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. The Raiders have been bad, and they've had their high picks, and they're looking at the top two, and they should draft a quarterback now. Wally White. I'm not saying they shouldn't draft a quarterback, but how did they know that? How do you know that who they're looking at is not next year? I mean, if you have a first round pick and you trade that away, more than likely you're getting this year and next year. So that means you're going to have two this year and two next year. So if you don't get your quarterback, you have a lot more options next year, right? And there's no guarantee you're going to be in the top five. But if you have two first round picks, that guarantees you're going to be pretty damn close. Pretty damn close, right? About as close as you could get. And I understand, man. I know we need a quarterback. I know they need a quarterback of the future. We haven't drafted one in the first round since Jamarcus Russell. I understand all this. I know that's a problem, and it's got to change. But to what extent? To what extent do you say we draft a quarterback? Say Pete Carroll sticks around for another year. Then what? What if he drafts a quarterback? They're still, only win 2 games next year. Then what do? You have a quarterback that a new coach is going to come in and say, that's not my system. That's not my style. This dude can't run my system. Then what? Then you wasted a first round pick. So then we're bad for another 4 or 5 years. Man, we can't afford to miss on this one. Can't afford to swing for the fences like everybody's saying. Just swing. Just swing. No, no, just think. Just think. Please, please, God, think. Raiders need a quarterback, O-line, and defensive players. They need a lot, bro. They need a lot. Gord Peterson, R.I.P. R.I.P. Greg Brewer, please subscribe. Yes, please subscribe to the channel. Like, double tap the screen. Appreciate it. Broncos, man. The Broncos are a very interesting team, right? They have one of the best defenses in the NFL. They have a great, solid young quarterback. But his numbers aren't great, right? And they still continue to win. So when you hit the playoffs and you're going against the top teams, I don't know how far that team's gonna make it. Which I could care less. I hope they lose right away. Yeah, R.I.P. Man. What happened? Does any know? It's been a year or something. Spotlight was last year, wasn't it? Husband and I are trying to go to the NFL draft. It's in Pittsburgh next year. Yeah, that's one thing I've never done in my life is been to an NFL draft. I would love to go, especially this year. Like, especially this year, because whether they pick, if they pick, I'm probably gonna lose my shit because I just don't unless somebody, you know, just baffles and just astonishes everybody in the next couple of weeks or months. Um, I just don't know how it would go. But I want to go so bad. That's one thing I have not done. Bring back Rich Gannon, man. Speaking of that, there's a lot of tax that Derek Carr, right? Some of y'all may not. Some of you may not know. I forgot I was gonna smoke with my guy Navy. Some of you may and may not know that the Colts, right? They have a young quarterback in Riley Leonard, who I think is going to be a damn good quarterback one day. Still, um, played pretty well, right? Not great, but played decent in his first NFL game. Has a little hiccup and a little injury. So the Colts go out and sign 45-year-old Philip Rivers. What do y'all think about Philip Rivers coming back to the NFL to possibly play for the Colts, a team that was, possibly playoff bound, started out very, very hot. I believe they're 8-4 or 8-5 or something now. Um, Definitely not as good as they used to be. Cheers. Um, so what do y'all think about Philip Rivers, bro? Former Charger coming out to play in the NFL. This man has a grandson that's old enough to play with his son that is in high school football right now. He's literally coming back to try to play. He hasn't played in 5 years. I do believe he retired in 2020 when the Raiders moved to Allegiant Stadium. If we can trade back a couple spots, get Caleb Downs and still on the board, that's the move to make. I mean, if you could get a Caleb Downs right back there, right? Um, that's one of them. Cam Chancellor. Shit, I don't want to compare him to Ed Reed or anything, but that's that's one of them dogs, right? That's one of those kids that has instincts. He can make plays. He can make big plays. He can turn around games. That's a game changer. He can cover sideline to sideline, right? He can play, I'm sure zone. I'm sure, cover one, cover zero, doesn't matter. Um, that kid's gonna be, gonna be special, and that would be, somebody to have on our team. But damn, it's. But then you look at, the guys that we just had, right? Nate Hobbs, they let go, right? You have Trayvon Morey, who started to, show out, and then bam, they let him go. So it would be nice. The Raiders, I feel like no matter who we pick or don't pick or trade back to pick, we're just renting. We're just renting them for probably 3 years, 4 years, and once they become somebody that we have to pay, they'll move on from them. So I don't know. I'm trying not to get too attached to the players, but Caleb Downs would be crazy pick again. Reese, CJ. Shit. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't even mind. Going and getting a true number one, right? Because let's face it, Dante Thornton. a concussion. He hasn't been out there. I think they pushed him out there way too fast. They ruined this kid's confidence. Never really got a lot of reps at Tennessee. Is Dante Thornton Jr. gonna be the guy of the future? I'm not too sure about that, right? I'm not too high on those expectations. Not as high as Pete Carroll was at the beginning of the season. Yes, he has the speed. Yes, he has the size, and he might make a great number three. Um, but a number one, man, maybe, possibly. And I'm rooting for the kid. I hope he becomes a number one, right? I hope he becomes the next, Tim Brown. But I just don't know at this point, right? So, um, a wide receiver would be good, man. That Jordan Tyson kid is absolutely amazing. Lemon is another kid that just jumps out every time you watch his tape. Um, the Alabama kid, another kid that just hops off tape. So I wanted the Raiders to trade back last year, right? At number 6, my big thing was trade back. Remember, y'all? Anybody remember? Let me get a thumbs up if you remember. Trade back, get Nick Emanwari, right? Trade back, get you know Nick Emanwari and possibly Jahad Campbell, who's another guy playing his butt off right now. Um, there was a lot of guys, right? Gray Zabel, we could have gotten a late rounds. We could have traded back and got all those dudes. And now we have more of a possibility if we stay where we're at or move up, you know, to do the same thing, right? Anytime you can get 2 first round players, that's huge for your franchise. It's way bigger than swinging for the fences um, on a quarterback that you never know, right? What it's 6'5", 225 pounds. That's a little light. I think we had that same problem with Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels had one good year. He's been hurt all this year, right? Came back last week, didn't look very good. Came back 3 weeks ago, didn't look very good then. So, man, taking these guys that high to me, unless you know that he's that dude, and Mendoza has it, right? He has definitely has the brain mentality. He can make plays with his legs. I think he has 5 rushing touchdowns. So, but is that your future, bro? Is that worth a number one pick? Thank God I don't have to make that choice. Thank God. So I told you the Steelers have the highest paid defense, and we're not going to make it. What do you think about that? Um, I think some changes have to be made in Pittsburgh, right? I think you have to look at your offensive coordinator. I think you have to look at your defensive coordinator, and right, are those guys? Do you have to, go out and get somebody? Do you hire within? Um, and maybe it's time to move on from Mike Tomlin. Maybe it's time. Maybe the Steelers are just like, damn, 18 years, you know, since Ben Roethlisberger, you really haven't done anything for us, but get us close, right? Just let us smell it. We just smell the playoffs, get there and lose. So maybe it's better. Maybe it's better for both. Maybe it's better for the coach and for the team to just part ways and try something new. Maybe something new would be better for both of them. Because that's a long time, bro. It's been a long time, and maybe maybe they just need to maybe they need to swing for the fences. Pittsburgh's another team. Maybe Pittsburgh says, bro, I'll give you this 1st round pick, I'll give you next year, and I'll give you the year after if you let us get up to number 2 to get Mendoza. Maybe it's time for Pittsburgh to just say we need to go get our guy. There's a lot of teams that could jump up there. Um, wasn't Ohio number 1 in the country at the moment? Yeah, I mean Mendoza played good. He had a solid game, bro. He had a solid game. But he also has a lot of weapons and a damn good team that they fight, right? That defense held Ohio State to their lowest scoring game all season. I think in 2 seasons, a matter of fact. I'm pretty sure. So Indiana's defense ain't no joke. When your defense is good, that means your quarterback gets way more opportunities, right? The more stops your defense gets, the more opportunities your quarterback gets. So when your quarterback gets a bunch of opportunities, um, they should score a lot of points and he should have good stats. And he had, some damn good throws in that game. But there was also some throws I was like, oh, Ooh, got pretty lucky, pretty lucky. And we'll see, man. We'll see. He's still got to take on, at least two more teams. Can the Raiders beat the Eagles, really? Any given Sunday, my man. Any given Sunday. If the Steelers fire Mike Tomlin, would be stupid. I definitely want the Raiders to sign him as head coach. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not. I don't think that's the way to go. I think a lot of these guys, um, even Andy Reid is starting to show this year, right? Stuck in his ways, completely stuck in his ways. They're not changing much. I think the Kansas City Chiefs have become very, very predictable as of late, and you know we've heard Patrick Mahomes in a couple of press conferences saying, you know, people just don't want to change, right? They're stuck in their ways, and I think that comes with when you're at a team for 10, 15, 20 years. I think you start to feel like, man, this is my team. I'm never going to get fired, right? I own this team and I could do whatever I want. And I think that hurts a lot of head coaches, or maybe their philosophy just, people start to pick up on it. And if they don't adapt, then, you lose out. So Mike Tomlin should never be traded, should have never traded. And that's, but was it Mike Tomlin that traded him, or was it the ownership that said, get this kid out of here, right? And George Pickens, you know, I said I wouldn't mind George Pickens on the Raiders, but he's another one of those guys where if he's getting the ball, 10, 15 times a game, he's great. But if he only gets, 3, 4 touches, don't think any of those touches are going to do shit because he ain't even going to try, right? He's going to half step on plays. So you get an up and down George Pickens. So I can see why Mike traded him, but they haven't done anything with the picks, just like the Raiders. And I'd really like to see Will Howard. I think, with the two running backs that they have, that's pretty much Ohio system, right? Like you got two running backs that you can pass out of the backfield that can run, run pretty solid up the middle, through any gap, A, B, to the outside, to the C gaps, right? You got these guys that can run, that can catch out of the backfield. You have a decent tight end. You still have, DK Metcalf. I think Will Howard would do pretty good over there. I would, what do they got to lose? I'd put him in. Who would be better than Kate Curry or Ruben Bain? I, you got me, bro. You got, um, I, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Caden Curry would be. I mean, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. And Ruben Bain, I think I would be. I'd be jumping up and down. But you just don't know. I've never met Ruben Bain, right? I've never met Caden Curry. I don't know what these guys' character is like. I don't know what their personality is like. And that's a huge thing in the NFL, right? If you draft the wrong guys that, you know, they make it here and they don't get, the same opportunities they got in college, they kind of lose interest, right? Some guys, aren't prepared to be third or fourth string and have to work their way up. So it all depends on character with these young men. If you draft a guy with character that loves the game, that, that bleeds football, right? That all they care about is winning, then you probably got a good chance. So if these guys are, solid young men, bro, you can't miss on a Ruben Bain. Just the athleticism and the talent is there. But does he have that heart? Does he have that heart? And we'll find out. Jack, all of the Pittsburgh is calling for Mike Tomlin to be gone, but since we beat Baltimore, he's not going anywhere. So you think, Alice? You think just from that Baltimore win, you think that saves Mike Tomlin's job? Because he's got a lot of good wins in his career, but they just never seem to amount to anything. Steelers fans are tired, over it with Omar Epps. When I mean, here's my thing with this. The Steelers have had 3 head coaches in their whole entire existence. Three. Three. So when you only have 3 head coaches in your whole entire existence and your fan base is calling for your head, if you're an owner, the best thing to do is to pay that man his money, tell him thank you very much for your services, but we're going in another direction. Because if you lose your fan base, like Mar Davis has lost this fan base, not all of it. Some of us are glutton for punishments, but a lot of them. I know a lot of people that have given up season tickets. I know a lot of people that refuse to watch them on Sundays anymore until something changes, right? They're still Raider fans, but they just can't stand yelling and screaming TVs. And being pissed off all the time and having it ruin their week. So um, when it gets bad like that, like it is in Philadelphia, no matter how good of a coach Nick Sirianni is, it it might just be time to move on. I mean, the Raiders had to do it with Josh McDaniels, right? You had top creators up there screaming, it's time for his head, fire him, get rid of Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels sucked. Um, Before he really got an opportunity to do anything. Same thing with Antonio Pierce, right? They started losing. The fan base was all for Antonio Pierce, and then overnight they was all against Antonio Pierce. So when you lose your fan base, it just seems like it's a better opportunity, or a better decision to maybe call it quits, and maybe it'll be the dumbest thing they ever do, but maybe fans will regret it. But maybe him and ownership don't see eye to eye. Maybe they have a different vision. But I know their drafts the last couple years haven't been, anything to scream about. I know their team has been shaky, so I don't know. I already like to subscribe, appreciate it. I don't know how far I'm way behind in these comments. I appreciate everybody that commented, but I'm gonna scroll through all these hundreds of thousands of one. Um, Alice, thank you for your service. Oh, thank you, definitely thank you. I love it here. You're my favorite people. I love y'all. Appreciate you, Alice. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, we love all fans. As long as you're talking football, we love all football fans. Everybody said that to Rennie, they never let Tomlin go. I mean, I never thought they were gonna let the hell's the other head coach, Coward. I never thought they were gonna let Bill Coward go. I thought he was gonna be the coach forever, and you know, Mike Tomlin kind of was the next man up, and they never really tried to interview anybody or see if there's anybody that maybe has a different vision, or maybe has a vision that the owner would like better than the one they have. So sometimes change is good, man. Sometimes change is good. Am I circumcised? What kind of question is that? That's that's just weird, bro. Weird, bro. You should do this podcast with an eye patch. I don't have one, but you know, maybe. Yeah, shout out to all the vets. Thank you for your services. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate it. We would not be here. We would not be on this. We would not have the luxuries or to enjoy the things we enjoy without your services. So salute and thank you. Appreciate it. So yeah, man, the draft, we covered that. We covered Caleb Rogers. Let's look at this defense, because right, everything revolves around the quarterback, the offensive line. That's always the biggest problem. I don't know what happened to the page I had it on. PFF, where's PFF? So our defense, man. Darian Porter, the young rookie, right? He comes out um, with an 89.6 QBR against, which is, pretty damn solid for the kid that's, been in and out, hasn't had much play time, right? So um, he was targeted targeted 6 times, 3 catches for 34 yards. He had 2 pass breakups. Oh, and was sorry, my bad, a 67.4 QBR against. That's good numbers, and you have to ask yourself, why hasn't this kid been out there? Um, and then Pete Carroll in the press conference takes credit for it and says, yeah, we've been bringing Darian Porter along, and we're really excited about where he's gone, and how far he's come. Um, and we've been trying to get him more playtime, right? And it was just time. You ain't been trying to get him more playtime, bro. He was only out there because Kai Blue Kelly had a season-ending injury, and you had no opportunity, no other choice than to put the rookie out there who's played more than Decamarion Richardson, that you can't even get on the grass and give this man any burn at all. So, Pete Carroll is just irritating. But shout out to Darian Porter for coming out, dealing with everything he's had to deal with this year, knowing more than likely he's probably the best corner we have on the field, but he's getting, probably the, fourth or fifth most burn out there on the grass. So that's horrible. Jeremy Chin was targeted 5 times. He gave up 5 catches um, for 22 yards, So they're just short catches underneath. Not too bad. Gives them hopefully a couple tackles. Devin White was targeted 12 times. He gave up 12 catches, 72 yards, a 101 QBR. Um, Isaiah Palomau was targeted 3 times, 2 catches, 15 yards, a 84 QBR against. Um, Landon Roberts targeted twice, gave up 19 yards for 106. Like, basically, the only person on our defense that didn't give up a catch when they were targeted is Isaiah Palomau 1 time, Darian Porter, the rookie, and Eric Stokes 1 time. Everybody else, every time they were targeted, was a reception. Oh, sorry, Lonnie Johnson, targeted once, 0. He had a pass breakup with a 39.6 QBR. So Lonnie Johnson, who has struggled to tackle, good lord, he struggled to tackle. Was pretty solid. Was pretty solid. Tommy Eichenberg. Tommy Eichenberg actually got out a little burn out there. Didn't look too bad. He was targeted 1 time. He gave up 5 yards, which I don't know how 92.8 QBR against is. That's pretty crazy to me. Um, Charles Snowden, why he's in coverage, I don't know, but was 1 for 1 with 9 yards. Lonnie Johnson, like I talked about. And then missed tackle wise, man, missed tackle. There was, um, I think six Raiders with a missed tackle each. Darian Porter had 2 missed tackles. Landon Roberts, Devin White, each had 4 missed tackles. So our linebackers missing tackles, bro. It's it's not good for us. It's not a good look. So if you're looking at those numbers, right, you do have Cody Lindenberg that we haven't seen nothing of. Why you streaming this season? Because I'm a Raider fan, bro. I'm going to stream all the time. That's what I do. Love this team. Um, what else we got? What I miss? 37 given position of taking my others. Okay, old school. Nice. Nice. Old school Southern Baptist ways. Trade Crosby. Go Browns. Come on, man. We beat y'all and you love it. I mean, who hasn't beat the Raiders this year, bro? They have a 74-year-old coach. Do you really like beating up on old men? Does that make you happy? Does that make you feel good about yourself? Does that make you feel good coming in and and dominating 54-year-old men? Kudos to you if it does, bro. But no, shout out for the Browns, bro. Shout out to the Browns. Trade us Denver Broncos Genty. Geno is a beast. Yeah, if you're trying to get the number one pick, bro. Alice, that's funny. My oldest 13 siblings. I worked on a student with special needs elementary through high school. And I'm very caregiving for elderly right now. Nice. I did not know that, Navy vet. Shout out to you, man. That's awesome. Respect, I'm a Packer, but my number two is Miami, and I feel you. Yeah, the pain is ridiculous, bro. Pain is ridiculous. Knees does. What's good, my guy? Big top, big talk. Great job. Oh shit. So yeah, man, that's pretty much that's where I'm at. That's what I got. Um, I just don't feel like there's any scenario where Pete Carroll comes back this year, and I just can't wait to Philadelphia to see if the Raiders are going to come out and try to compete. Um, if they're going to force Geno to come out there hurt. If Geno doesn't want to be here, do they try to trade him? Try to trade him now? Because I mean, I guess you can't trade him, but you could trade him as soon as the season's over. Try to get something for him. Just let him walk. Release him. I mean, the Raiders. Not only are they 2-11, but we still have no head coach, right? Um, I don't know how y'all feel about Spytek being the guy up at top, but I like Spytek, man. I think a lot of this draft, when they get to play, they've all looked pretty solid, right? And the way Caleb Rogers has come in, and I know Pete Carroll took all the credit for that and said, um, matter of fact, JT and the Brick said yesterday that Caleb Rogers, he was just not good enough to play. But then the following week, he goes out there and has 0 sacks, 0 pressures. He just got good overnight. So I love it how these guys that get paid for the Raiders just come out here and try to make up excuses. I think y'all need a whole new revamp of the whole entire coaching staff. I mean, we did that. We did that, and I get what you're saying. Like everybody needs to be fired. I think you can't keep Patrick Graham. You can't keep the defensive line coach, right? You can't keep your receivers coach. I think just everybody. You need to let Spytek, Tom Brady, say this is our coach. He's going to be the coach for 5 years. Raider Nation, whether you like it or not, this is our guy, right? And then and roll with that, right? Roll with that. Be like, bro, he signed to 5 years. After 3 years, we'll evaluate, whether we're keeping you or we're not keeping you. But we'll give you a 3-year contract with possible five, and you're gonna have to earn those other 2 years. And if they do that, then I think that's the best way to go. But you got to let that head coach come in and say, you know, this is my offensive coordinator, this is my special teams coach, this is my receiver coach, my running back coach, my defensive coach. They all have to be on the same page of who those coaches are. And the Raiders have not been since John Gruden was here. When John Gruden came in, he was like, okay, everybody go. I know who I want at every position, right? I think they kept maybe a couple guys in the building, but pretty much everybody left. I mean, John Gruden's son's still been in the building. He's made it through 3 different head coaches. Like, and the Raiders, nobody on the Raiders, Max Crosby's been working out for like 7 years and hasn't gained any muscle. Like, how are you in the building 15 hours a day, and you don't get any bigger or stronger? Crazy to me. So, I mean, yeah, it's time to just clean house. Unless they feel like maybe giving Patrick Graham a shot because nobody else wants the job. And if that's the case, then damn, be a lot of the same coaches. But man, I appreciate y'all. I've been out here for an hour and 20 minutes. I appreciate everybody in the building. Let me know afterwards in the comments, what do you think they should do with the number one pick? Should they trade it? Should they keep it? Should they just, pick where they're at? And who should it be? Should they swing for the fences for a quarterback? Or do you think The Las Vegas Raiders, 75208. What's good, my guy? Trade. I'm with you. Or do you think the Las Vegas Raiders have their quarterback of the future already in mind? Let me know in the comments below. Much love. Appreciate y'all. Peace. Raiders.